Two attorneys here, Federation for American Immigration Reform, Dan Stein, that would be me, and I'm here with the Executive Director and General Counsel of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. We're talking Brett Kavanaugh. Judge Kavanaugh, soon to be Justice Kavanaugh if he's confirmed for the Senate. Will Judge Kavanaugh be a good justice? How does it look on the immigration front? We've taken a look at his decisions, dissenting opinions as he served on the D.C. Circuit Court, and we're here to talk about what his basic positions are and whether he's going to be good or not. And listen, I'm right here on Facebook. I've got you right in front of me. I see you're tuning in. We're talking Brett Kavanaugh. There's going to be two stages to our Facebook Live this morning. There's number one, we're going to be talking with Dale about the legal history and record of Judge Kavanaugh. And then secondly, we're going to be talking to R.J. Hauman, who's Fair Government Relations Director, to talk about the confirmation process ahead. So, thanks for joining us, Dale.
Thanks for having me.
What would you say are the big takeaways regarding what do we know about his record? Is it good, bad, points of concern?
I think it's great. The opinions that we've reviewed, that where he's ruled on immigration issues, have all been America First type opinions. He's ruled in favor of the American worker. He's concerned about Americans being displaced by foreign labor. He's concerned about American business. And he's also very concerned about importing guest workers and replacing Americans who otherwise could do those jobs.
So, in a nutshell, would you say his judicial philosophy is to give deference to Congress, or is he an activist judge to rewrite the immigration law?
He is absolutely an originalist. He interprets statutes as written. He follows his view of the Constitution is that it needs to be followed and that judges are not to make policy.
So in this one case where they filed a relevant dissent, Chow versus Department of Homeland Security, this was a case involving a Brazilian restaurant that was making the claim, listen closely, American workers cannot learn to cook Brazilian-style steak. Putting it over a grill, cooking it over a spit, serving it and slicing it in a particular way requires the importation of foreign workers. In fact, this has been going on for some time. Are you familiar at all with this case?
Yes, absolutely.
So this was an L case, right?
Yes, it was.
So they were bringing in these people cooking steak under the visa called L.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, that visa is for people with specialized knowledge and skills. So what Fogo de Chao was saying was, we have to import a chef to cook in our restaurant. An American can't do this. This requires some special skill that an American could not learn.
Right, but I thought the L visa, okay, we're not talking H-1B now. This is the L visa. Is for intra-company transferees, managers, executives. The idea behind L was for, say, a multinational to transfer a senior executive from, say, BlackRock to do work here who possesses specialized knowledge to work temporarily on a project for that company.
Correct.
Did Congress intend for garden variety, admittedly specialized chefs to be considered L visa holders?
Absolutely not.
And so how long had this been going on?
Oh, this has been going on for quite some time.
Years, right?
Years, absolutely, years. And finally, this case worked its way up through the courts into the D.C. Circuit.
But it started because the BIA, the Board of Immigration Appeal, the Department of Labor, said this is not a proper use of L visas,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yes.
the D.C. lower district federal district court said yes, it is.
Yes.
Appellate court, the majority opinion said remanded the case.
Correct.
Opposed the government, right?
That is correct.
And Kavanaugh filed the dissent. Now, this is the reason we're talking about this. Kavanaugh took a look at this, and what did he say?
He actually looked beneath what Fogo de Chao was doing and said, what you're trying to do is just import cheap labor. Okay. To say that Americans can't be trained to cook Brazilian meats is absurd. So specifically, he said, mere economic expediency does not authorize an employer to displace American workers for foreign workers. Excellent holding. Sadly, he was the dissenter, so that's not the rule.
The material point is he's looking at the original statute, what Congress intended,
correct,
and applying the law as Congress intended to protect American workers.
That's correct.
That's Brett Kavanaugh. What else do we know about him?
He's ruled in a couple of other cases. There was a case where illegal aliens had voted in a union election, and that was challenged.
The Democratic Party loves this idea.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Illegal aliens voting in union elections.
Yes, yes. And in that case, once again, Judge Kavanaugh, or the majority, upheld the election, and Judge Kavanaugh again dissented and said that.
What did he say?
He cited to IRCA, the 1996 law passed by Congress.
Now, IRCA was passed in 86.
Excuse me, 86, that prohibited employers from hiring illegal aliens. So he thus reasoned that the National Labor Relations Act could not possibly apply to illegal aliens, and that election should have been voided.
So Judge Kavanaugh is applying the immigration law in a way that would make it harmonious with the rest of the federal law, statutory scheme,
right?
So that it all makes sense and hangs together.
Correct.
So that if someone's here illegally, that obviously means they don't benefit from certain elements of union labor law.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. That's fabulous stuff, right? That's the kind of stuff we like to hear. Somebody who's applying the congressional intent and making it synthesize with the rest of federal laws. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, there was actually a 2014 opinion that Judge Kavanaugh wrote. He actually wrote a concurrence in this case. And what was being challenged there was the requirement, the U.S. government requirement that products contain a label that says "Made in China," "Made in the USA," "Made in Germany," so that consumers could choose to buy American. Well, not surprisingly, many conservatives actually voted against this rule, saying, it harms commerce and it violates free speech and whatnot. And Judge Kavanaugh, in the case, filed a concurring opinion, and he found that there was a substantial government interest in protecting American manufacturers, farmers, and workers.
So Judge Kavanaugh wants to protect American manufacturers, farmers, workers, wants to protect American workers from unfair competition from foreign workers, and he wants to make sure there's proper synthesis that allows the primacy of federal immigration law interpretation throughout the federal legislative policy scheme. Right?
That's right.
Strong deference to Congress.
Absolutely.
The president
yes.
in deferring on immigration policy judgments.
Where it rightly belongs.
So if Judge Kavanaugh were presented with a situation where President Obama, for example, was letting in aliens with no colorable claim to come here,
right,
where would he come down?
I would expect him to vote against that. If it's not in the INA, it's not authorized.
So unless he would say the president has authority to admit an alien, he would issue an injunction to stop the admission of aliens improvidently?
Yes. Yes.
Thinks that the travel ban, any idea where he'd come down on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think he would defer to the president. The INA was clear regarding the travel ban that the president of the United States had the power to suspend the entry of any alien that might harm national interests. So it's right there, black and white. I am sure that Judge Kavanaugh would have voted with the majority who upheld the Trump travel ban.
Okay. So he's good for American workers, good for American manufacturing, safe for those of us who care about the original interpretation both of the Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. Is this a judge who can be confirmed to become the next Justice of the United States Supreme Court? In a few moments, I will be joined by R.J. Hauman, and he and I will discuss the prospects for Senate confirmation, what we're hearing on the Hill. I will be right back, and I want to thank Dale for joining me on short notice.
Thanks for having me.
And again, please send your questions and comments. We're happy to answer them. Be right back. And Stein here now with R.J. Hauman. Okay, we've taken you through the track record of Brett Kavanaugh, and now we're going to talk about prospects for whether or not he can get confirmed. So joining me now, R.J. Hauman, Government Relations Director. He's been bird-dogging Capitol Hill, been in touch with the leadership. Is this going to be a tough lift? What's happening with Trump's prospects here?
Well, I think there's, as you can kind of see by the reaction by a lot of Democrats, even some open borders groups, a lot of the left-leaning groups that we tend to do battle with, they're up in arms over this nomination. And what you're seeing...
They would have been up in arms about any
That's
nomination.
what I was just about to say. There were signs yesterday at the Supreme Court They had signs that said "Stop Kethledge," "Stop Hardiman," "Stop Kavanaugh." They were just waiting to
stop
whoever.
Snoopy.
Exactly. Just anybody, basically. If Trump would have nominated anybody under the sun, they would be saying the exact same things right now. But, right now, I don't think there's anything Democrats can do to stop this from going through. Again, Judge Gorsuch was confirmed in about 66 days. President Obama's last pick, Sonia Sotomayor, was confirmed in that same time as well. So right now, kind of where we stand, the president made his pick last night, choosing Brett Kavanaugh. Mitch McConnell has indicated he wants to get him confirmed by October 1st. They don't have a lot on the schedule. So right now, the first step is Brett Kavanaugh is going to be making the rounds on Capitol Hill this week and next, meeting with all senators who will meet with him. Again, Democrats, Republicans, folks like Kamala Harris and everything right now saying no.
Senator Kyle is going to take him around.
Senator Kyle is going to serve as what they call a Sherpa. Kelly Ayotte did that for Neil Gorsuch. Basically an old, somebody that was in the Senate before normally, that knows everybody, knows the protocol, and can help escort them around as they meet the senators and go through their record and their vision for what they want to do if they're eventually named to the Supreme Court. But the first step in this whole process is for, again, the Senate Judiciary Committee. They have the jurisdiction here. They work with the White House. They dig through all these materials, and then they set a hearing. And when that hearing happens, which will probably happen in the next month, maybe on the tail end of this month, where you're going to have a lot of these Democratic senators out there trying to preen for the cameras and get a lot of sound bites.
Yeah, but so we have a judge here, wants to be justice,
Right.
and he's definitely pro-American worker, wants to protect them from foreign competition, respects the statutory scheme, clearly a judicial scholar, certainly wants to protect American manufacturing.
Right.
Okay, we take a look at some of these Democrats running in what they call red states, misnomer red states. Who's going to vote against him? Manchin said he's concerned about the Affordable Care Act.
So you have about three Democratic senators voted for Justice Neil Gorsuch, who was Heitkamp from the Dakotas, Joe Manchin, obviously from West Virginia, and then Donnelly up for re-election in Indiana. I think there's a high likelihood that all three of those will vote for him again. But then you have other red state Democrats as well, Doug Jones in Alabama, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, potentially Tester. There was actually a poll, the first poll we've seen on this that was commissioned this morning and included, West Virginia, Florida, some other key battleground states for the Senate races this year, and all people said, and whopping majorities, above 60%, people said in each one of these states that they want to see their sitting senator confirm President Trump's Supreme Court pick. So again, I think it's a I think there's almost nothing that Democrats can do to stop this nomination, and I hope.
What about Ben Sasse?
Ben Sasse,
what about Jeff Flake?
They'll all no.
He can't afford to miss anybody if the Democrats all stand in opposition.
The only two Republicans that were kind of on the fence about any nominee were Collins and Murkowski because of the abortion issue. Now, the abortion issue was a hotter button thing if he selected Amy Coney Barrett compared to Brett Kavanaugh. I don't think that issue is as strong for them here. And I think when it's all said and done, and the other person to watch out for too here is Rand Paul as well. A lot of these Fourth Amendment issues, Brett Kavanaugh kind of sided with the powers of the state and metadata and the government's ability, to surveil people as well. But I think when it's all said and done, Republicans understand that they need to get this person confirmed because they do not know what's going to happen in the midterm elections. If you get on the other side of the midterm elections or potentially in the next year, who would the Democrats confirm?
Well, suppose I'm thinking strategically. I mean, suppose for whatever reason Donald Trump believes Kavanaugh is going to have trouble getting confirmed. Mm-hmm. What if his thinking is he wants to smoke out the opposition? If he had to withdraw the Kavanaugh nomination,
right,
he knows it would be more difficult for those people who voted or opposed him to oppose his next recommendation. And so I know it sounds a little diabolical, but maybe Trump is thinking, I'm going to send Kavanaugh out there, who McConnell said was a heavier lift than Kitteridge and some of the other names.
Right. Well, the reason
his original idea is to actually clear the way for the next person he's going to nominate.
Right.
Is that possible?
Well, I think,
am I just giving too much credit?
I think that is highly unlikely. However, I think maybe if that did happen, things could play out that way. But again, when McConnell says there is a big paper trail for Brett Kavanaugh, he's not talking about his decisions and his judicial record at all. He has over 300 opinions on the D.C. circuit. What he's talking about is that he served in a key position as staff secretary under the Bush administration. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to say that he sent thousands of emails while he was in the Bush administration. All of those things can be public record. It was done with Elena Kagan under Obama when he selected her to the Supreme Court. She was his Solicitor General, had no judicial experience.
I remember.
What Republicans did is they pulled all her emails and they posted them online. And what that kind of served to do was just make the process more transparent, try to see if you could find any little hole in her background, and also delay the process. And we certainly expect Democrats to do the same. And that wouldn't have been an issue with some of the other picks that were out there. But again, he has that record of public service, even dating back. He was Ken Starr's head investigator in the Monica Lewinsky scandal with President Clinton. So he's got a lot of...
He's a Republican blue blood.
He is. He is.
He's like the Richard Henry Lee of the Republican Party.
Right. He's got a lot of outside things that a lot of these Democratic senators are going to be really diving into outside of his judicial record.
Right. All right. Well, Fair has said, from the standpoint of immigration policy, Judge Brett Kavanaugh is an excellent choice, and we certainly would support his confirmation. We will be keeping you up to date on that as we go on, give you progress reports, let you know what's happening. RJ, thanks for joining us. I appreciate all your great questions and comments. Good to know Donald Trump has not forgotten the campaign platform that he ran on a couple of years ago. Unusual for a politician. But then again, whoever said Donald Trump was a typical politician. Thanks, RJ.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll see you soon.